Hi, my name is Pat Parelli, and I'm a professional horseologist. I'm trying to make the world a better place for horses and the humans that love them, and help them learn to be the perfect partner, the dream partner that you've always wished for. What I want to do today is I want to share a video with you. It's a video of me playing with a horse on the ground prior to riding. It's a horse that I had never ridden before. Um, and this was taken in Florida, probably a few years back, and on our campus there. But now we are in Johnsonville, South Carolina at the Parelli Landing. So this is not our place that we have now. So, but I want to share this video with you, and then I'll just kind of make comments through it and share what was probably going through my mind at the time. Okay? All right, let's turn the video on. Let's watch it together here. This is a horse that came in for development, and they wanted to use him in competitions for ranch versatility. So I'm going to play with him on a few things here. Again, just seeing if he can go straight back. And you can see every time he goes back, he kind of goes out to the side, or he's getting ready to go. And there he goes. Now he's heading out into a circle. And you see, what I really like about this is that you see how he's carrying himself? This horse has done enough circles, even though I'm the founding president of the Coalition Against Lunging. Lunging to me is chasing a horse in a circle until he gets tired. All right, that's not what we're doing here. See here, I'm playing what I call the jump rope technique to ask him to come down, do a downward transition on the circle and not necessarily turn and face me. So when I created a levels program, I created levels 1 through 4 for recreational leisure riders so that we can get a good basic and a good foundation. But when we go to level 5, 6, and 7, we start getting a little more, asking a horse to do more things. So here I'm going to ask him to maintain gait. Well, first of all, stay connected, maintain gait, maintain direction, look where he's going. Okay, so the look where he's going here. So I'll throw some obstacles in front of him here and there. So I'm asking here, and he can slow down if he wants, change gaits, as long as he's got forward momentum and he's looking where he's going. So let's just see what he does on his own devices here. So I ask him here to do a downward transition while on there. And it's like, oh, you mean I got to pay attention to a lot of things? See, it's so easy for us humans to want to micromanage a horse and say, oh, don't fall off the bridge. It's a good thing that bridge is not 100 feet in the air. You see, so I'm going to play some games here to get him to be able to stay connected to me. Okay. You know, pay attention to what I'm asking. Maintain the gait, backing, for example, and maintain direction, go straight, and watch where you're going. It's not a crooked bridge, so he should be able to maintain that back up and maintain where his feet are. So this is how we get our horses to be calm, smart, brave, and athletic. All right, and without micromanaging. Now, back in the 70s, about 1975, 6, something like that, I apprenticed with a master horseman named Mr. Troy Henry, and he was really clever about teaching horses how to negotiate trail obstacles. Because in those days, we would go to a horse show and we would take 50 to 70 horses with us to every horse show. And in those days, they did Western pleasure, they did equitation, trail classes, reining classes, stock seat equitation, and also cow working, reining cow horse, all these different events. And so what Mr. Henry taught us all to do is use trail obstacles to cool a horse down. So like, let's say we warmed a horse up, played some games with them in the ground corral or on the ground, or even some riding exercise, then kind of concentrate on some things to think about for the middle of the session. And let's just say each hour is a session, 20 minutes, and then 20 minutes concentrate, and then 20 minutes out on the trail course, not just going over obstacles, but going over obstacles on a loose rein and stopping and backing up in doing things like this to really get that mind engaged and get a horse to be a great partner by staying connected, maintaining gait, maintaining direction, look when you're going. So here's an example of, I'm on the bridge now, and I'm just trying to use the environment and a little bit of imagination here to test to see if that was good when I just asked him to disengage and come back. That showed that he was really connected. And now let's see if he's gotten a little smarter, a little more clever about watching where his feet are. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm getting to know this horse before I ride him. And the owner of this horse is one of my students, and you can see the horse knows the 7 games quite well. But I'm going to throw in some variety here. Let's see if we can get him to have more responsibility about reading what I want him to do. Okay, and so we know that horses can get very good at reading you and knowing exactly what you want, and you and I can get to where we, can know exactly what our horses won't do. A lot of people know my horse won't load in the trailer. Okay, so I've never played with this horse before, and so I'm just gonna keep a little bit of feel on that front end. Let's see if we can see it here, maybe even a little more. See, he's trying to go in sideways. I don't want him going, so I want him to bring his hips over. Prepare to a position to make the transition. So I'm just touching him with that string. Just say, bring your hips over here. Don't go in, bring your hips over here. You'll see it here in a second. There's a little better. The hips came over here. He got in line. What I want to help people understand with horses is to teach them to be their partner. We have to exercise them mentally, emotionally, physically, and even, work with their spirit. And so this horse to me looks like a left brain extrovert. He likes to move his feet. He likes to play. He's basically a confident horse. Move your hindquarters over. There we go. I want to take a short pause on this video to explain to you more about horsenality and what that means to me. I said a minute ago that he was a left brain extrovert, okay? So every horse has his own horsenality based on 4 things: innate characteristics, environmental influences, learned behavior, and spirit, okay? So let's just look at it this way, all right? There's extroverts and there's introverts. That makes sense, probably. We've all probably heard those terms with humans, and like you could be sitting there and like if I said, raise your hand if you're an extrovert, and all the extroverts would go, yeah, that's me. And if I said, raise your hand if you're an introvert, it'd be like, okay. So we got the extrovert, introvert. Then there's more right brain, left brain. Right brain oftentimes, well, first of all of these things have a positive thing. Like we could say right brain horses are really want to move their feet and be creative and have fun and that sort of thing. We could also say right brain horses are oftentimes very skeptical and spooky and always prepared to act like a prey animal than a partner. So both have an upside and a downside, but we'll get into that in a moment. So let's just go extroverts, introverts. Okay, so let's just say we had a circle. The top half of the circle is extroverts, the bottom half is introverts. Then the right side of the circle would be our right brain horses, left side left. So let's just look at this. Right brain horses want to move their feet a lot. Okay, right brain extroverts want to move their feet a lot. Right brain introverts oftentimes run away on the inside and freeze and look like they're being okay, and then all of a sudden they can explode. My famous mare Magic, was a right brain introvert, and I remember the first time I walked up to a mechanical cow, and she was like, okay, and then it moved, and I mean, we changed counties and zip codes, okay? So the next thing is, let's say, left brain introvert. They're the kind of horses that seem kind of lazy, but they want to know why. If they know why, they'll put effort into it. Left brain extroverts want to play. They move the feet and they want to play. So this, to me, depending on, and all of this is to know how to start the relationship. So, for example, right brain introverts, we want to slow down, Left brain introverts, we want to make sure they understand why we're doing that, what's in it for them. Left brain extroverts want to move their feet and have fun. Right brain extroverts want to move their feet and do it in such a, maybe overdo it, but do it in such a way that we can put that energy into the work, into the games or whatever, discipline or whatever it is that we're doing. So each one, we have to have a strategy. So we want to play with the left brain extroverts, not just be boring, not just lunge around in a circle. A right brain extrovert, we probably want to do different things, interrupt patterns and stuff, so they don't just get in a circle and run until they're, just kind of leave the planet mentally, even though they're running around in a circle physically. But we want to do different things till they get kind of left-brained about it and kind of come back to earth and hurry up and relax. All right. So just to give you a little insight as to what I mean by horsenality: innate characteristics, environmental influences, learned behavior, and then of course spirit. And every one of those can have it. The secret is to know how to start with each one of those horsenalities and get them to work toward the middle. And in the end, you'll end up having a horse that's very well balanced because he's got the positive attributes of all four horsenalities. So let's get back to the video. It's not about the trailer. Think about that trailer. He's got to go over the floor, under the roof, and between the walls, and the whole thing wiggles. So to him, it's a metal cave on wheels. And just as I play with him with the bridge or any of the other obstacles, I'm just trying to see if he can think his way through those things and be willing, before I ride him, wanting and willing, bring those hips over, and understanding. So we want rhythm, relaxation. I'm just asking, bring those hips over. I'm not asking him to get in. I'm saying, bring your hips over. Come on, bring those hips over. Don't stand there. Bring those hips over. Bring those hips over. Back out. So many people just keep trying to stuff a horse in a trailer. And this wasn't about trailer loading, by the way. This was about me getting to know this horse before I ride him. There we go. So like when I play with a horse on the ground, I want to get to know him and him or her, and for them to get to know me. So again, I'm trying to see if he can stay connected with me mentally and see if he can see what I want and then be willing to do it. And at the same time, maintain gait, maintain direction, look where you're going. There you go. That was a good example. And you can see we've got different logs and different things here that are just good little challenges for any horse. And I think so many people get very secular, very linear with their horse. If he's a jumping horse, we jump him. If he's a dressage horse, we don't jump him. We only do this. Or if he's a reining horse, whatever that is. To me, foundation before specialization. So the things that I'm testing here are to see, okay, as a performance horse, how can you go backwards and how can you go sideways? How can you go over obstacles? How can you stay connected with me? And so many horses, everything's good until you go fast or go over something or ask them to do something that's a little challenging mentally and emotionally. And then they start to get, they turn into prey animals. So look how nice and calm he is here. And I've asked him to move his hips over. Remember what we were doing on the trailer? Move your hips over and come over and be my partner. And ask him to come over and be in position for me to mount up. And then here, this is called lateral flexion, neutral lateral flexion, which just means please bend your neck, bring your nose over here toward me. Trying to see how he responds to the bit. This is a snaffle bit here. Trying to see if he'll allow me to put his weight where I want, like right there. When I asked him to turn to the right, he kind of put his weight back on the front end. Now, I'm going to go around here and do some of the same things I did on the ground, but now in the saddle. Okay, remember, just nice little circle. There we go. Let's just disengage the hindquarters, move the forehand. Let's ask him here. Maintain gait, maintain direction, look where he's going. And let's stay in a circle. That looks pretty good. So you can see the horse has got these other three ingredients here: rhythm, relaxation, and understanding. I really like that. So since I jumped him over some little jumps there, little logs, on the ground, then I felt pretty safe. Did you see that flying lead change, by the way? I felt pretty safe that would be an okay thing to do in the saddle. Where so many people get in trouble with a horse is they've never jumped the horse over online, and then they go jump something, and the horse over exaggerates the jump. Now, let me see if I can just do a downward transition here, if I remember right. And can we stay straight and soft and straight? Actually, there you go. That's not too bad. That's actually pretty good. I'd like to see him put his weight on his hindquarters, transfer his weight to his hindquarters. And again, I'm just checking him out because this is my first session with him. I'm just trying to see. And so now, if I remember right, he stayed in training for 2 or 3 months. So I'm sitting here analyzing, well, what are the things I'm going to need to work on in the next 2 or 3 months? And of course, expect a lot, accept a little, reward often. And he's got to have mental, emotional, and physical fitness in order to go compete and do what he's going to do later on. And everything he should do should be done with rhythm, relaxation, understanding. Then we start asking for speed control and for more straightness, which transfers the weight to the hindquarters. Back to, remember, one of the first things I did is played with him on the ground over this bridge. And again, I've seen horses be so afraid of this bridge that if you didn't play with it on the ground, when you got up there, he might, rear or buck or, act like a prey animal. See all those things I did on the ground? That's what gave me the confidence that I could ask him to do those things in the saddle. So as you can see, the things we did on the ground were preparing for what we were going to do in the saddle. So, and I learned a lot about him. I learned that he had some really good things. He had little places where he was making assumptions, a couple of little places where he could get more athletic by transferring his weight to the hindquarters first. And as we, again, that horse, I remember that story on that horse became quite successful a couple of months later in the ranch horse competitions, ranch versatility. Prior and proper preparation prevents P4 performance. Hope you enjoyed that.